Interpretations of which current events align with Bible prophecies vary widely among religious groups, scholars, and individuals. What follows is a summary of common perspectives, along with counterviews to reflect this diversity. Commonly cited modern-day prophetic signs. 1. Israel's re-establishment and role in global affairs. Biblical references. Ezekiel 36-24. I will take you out of the nations. I will gather you from all the countries and bring you back into your own land. Deuteronomy 30-3-5 and Zechariah 12-3. Current context. Many Christians point to Israel's 1948 re-establishment as a nation and its 1967 control of Jerusalem as key prophetic milestones. Ongoing tensions, such as the Israel-Hamas conflict and rising friction with Iran, are linked to prophecies of turmoil in the region, including the Gog and Magog battle described in Ezekiel 38-39. Counter-perspectives. Some scholars argue these prophecies were already fulfilled in the Jewish return from Babylonian exile in the 6th century BCE. Others view the modern state of Israel as a political, not spiritual development, and see regional conflicts as part of long-standing geopolitical struggles rather than unique end-time signs. 2. Wars, rumors of wars, and global conflict. Biblical references. Matthew 24-6-7. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And Luke 21-10. Current context. Ongoing conflicts like the war in Ukraine, tensions between major powers, and the spread of cross-border violence are often cited as matching these warnings. Some also point to the proliferation of nuclear weapons and the risk of large-scale war as unprecedented in history. Counter-perspectives. Critics note that war and conflict have been constant throughout human history. They argue that while modern conflicts may be more global in scope, they do not necessarily signal the end times as described in Scripture. 3. Natural disasters and pandemics. Biblical references. Matthew 24-7. Luke 21-11, and Revelation 6-6-8. Current context. Events like the COVID-19 pandemic, increasing frequency of severe weather, and notable seismic activity are linked to these prophecies. Some also point to food insecurity in parts of the world as a fulfillment of famine warnings. Counter-perspectives. Scientists attribute many of these events to climate change and natural geological processes, not divine intervention. Others note that pandemics and natural disasters have occurred throughout history, and their frequency or severity is not unique to the modern era. 4. Technological advancements and global surveillance. Biblical references. Daniel 12-4 and Revelation 13:16-17, which describes a system where no one could buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. Current context. The rapid growth of technology, including artificial intelligence, digital surveillance, biometric identification, and the shift toward cashless economies, is seen by some as aligning with these verses. The doubling of human knowledge every 12 hours is also linked to Daniel's prediction of increased understanding. Counter-perspectives. Many view technological progress as a neutral or positive development, not a sign of end times. They argue that the mark of the beast is a symbolic concept, not a literal reference to modern digital systems. 5. Moral shifts and social change. Biblical references. 2 Timothy 3:1-5. But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy. And Matthew 24-12. Current context. Changing attitudes toward marriage, gender, and traditional values, as well as rising anti-Semitism and religious intolerance, are cited as matching these warnings. Some also point to the spread of misinformation and the celebration of evil in popular culture as signs of moral decay. Counter-perspectives. Critics argue that social change reflects evolving understandings of justice and equality, not moral decline. They note that moral values have shifted throughout history, and what is considered wicked or holy varies across cultures and time periods. 6. Persecution of believers. Biblical references. Matthew 24-9. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me. And John 15:20. Remember what I told you. A servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also. Current context. Reports of Christians facing discrimination, imprisonment, or violence in countries like China, Nigeria, and parts of the Middle East are seen as fulfilling these prophecies. Some also point to growing secularism in Western nations as a form of cultural persecution. Counter perspectives. While religious persecution is a serious issue, some argue that it has existed throughout history and is not unique to the modern era. Others note that religious freedom is also expanding in many parts of the world, and that the experience of believers varies widely by region. 7. Global spread of the gospel. Biblical reference, Matthew 24:14. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Current context. The growth of Christianity in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, as well as the use of technology to share the message globally, is seen as a sign that this prophecy is being fulfilled. Counter perspectives. Some scholars argue that the gospel has already been preached to all nations throughout history,